A 14-year-old black girl walked into school one morning and never came home the same. Brutally attacked by 4 white boys, she was left fighting for her life in a coma. But her mother refused to stay silent. Fueled by rage, love, and unshakable courage, she rose against the entire school system, bringing justice, exposing the truth, and shaking the walls of silence to the ground. Stay with us till the end. Hit like and subscribe to Black Journey, where Black lives, struggles, and triumphs are never forgotten. The morning started like any other. The sky was pale, the sun barely lifting itself over the horizon. Inside the modest kitchen, a mother packed her daughter's lunch with care. Her hands were steady, but her heart always carried a silent weight. Whispers. "Stay strong, baby girl," she whispered, sliding the sandwich into a bag. Her daughter, just 14, with skin as rich as midnight and eyes that carried an innocence the world didn't deserve, adjusted her backpack and gave her mother a hopeful smile. But behind that smile, behind those soft brown eyes, was fear. Fear of the hallways, fear of the lockers, fear of the white boys who seemed to carry cruelty in their fists and venom in their tongues. She had told her mom before, quietly, carefully, about the names they called her. The way they laughed when she walked past, whispering, "You don't belong here." The way they shoved her books to the ground, daring her to fight back. Her mother's heart cracked each time. But like so many black mothers before her, she told her daughter to be strong, to keep her chin high, to survive. "You're not just my daughter," she would say. "You're the daughter of every woman who ever fought to be seen." That morning, the girl kissed her mother's cheek and walked to school. She had no idea it would be the last morning she would walk freely for a long time. The attack wasn't sudden. It was planned. Behind the bleachers after gym class, where the cameras couldn't see and the teachers never watched, 4 white boys, all taller, stronger, and louder, surrounded her. She tried to walk past them. She clutched her books close to her chest. Nervous laugh. "Please, I just need to get to class." But their laughter echoed against the metal bleachers. "Look at you," one of them sneered. "Think you're better than us? Think you belong here?" Another boy shoved her shoulder, the books spilling to the ground like scattered dreams. She bent to pick them up, but a fist caught her jaw. She gasped, the metallic taste of blood filling her mouth. Then came another blow, then another. She screamed, but her voice was drowned out by laughter and fists. Her small frame crumpled to the concrete as they kicked, punched, and spat insults. Angry tone. "You don't belong in our school." By the time a teacher finally found her, her body was motionless. Her eyes were closed. Her breath was shallow. The girl who had kissed her mother that morning was now lying in a pool of blood, her future teetering between life and death. The call came in the middle of the day. Her mother dropped everything, the laundry, the bills, the dishes, everything, and ran. Her shoes slapped against the hospital floor, her heart pounding like thunder. When she reached the room, she froze. Tubes, wires, machines beeping rhythmically, her baby lying there so still. Whispers, trembling. "Oh my God, what did they do to you?" Her mother collapsed to her knees beside the bed, clutching her daughter's hand. The doctors explained, swelling in the brain, broken ribs, a fractured jaw. She might never wake up. Something inside that mother broke. But something else was born that day too. Rage. A rage as ancient as injustice, as deep as centuries of scars. She stared at her daughter's swollen face and whispered through her tears, "They think they can break you, but they don't know who your mother is." The school tried to downplay it. They called it a fight. They said it was kids being kids. They said both sides were to blame. Both sides? A 14-year-old girl against 4 boys? Her mother clenched her fists so tight her nails cut into her palms. When the principal tried to offer polite condolences, speaking in calm, rehearsed tones about investigations and process, the mother stood tall. Her voice shook, but it carried the weight of thunder. Angry tone. My daughter is in a coma because of your negligence. Don't you dare call this a fight. Call it what it is, attempted murder fueled by hate. The story spread through whispers in the community. Some were outraged. Others shrugged it off. But the mother, she refused to be silent. She refused to be just another black parent burying her pain while the system looked away. Each night, she sat by her daughter's bedside, stroking her hand, whispering softly, "Come back to me, baby. Just open your eyes. I promise I'll fight for you." But when she left that hospital, when the cold air hit her face, she transformed. No more quiet patience, no more polite meetings. She became a storm. She gathered evidence. She spoke to witnesses. She recorded everything the school tried to hide. She stood in front of cameras, her voice breaking but fierce. "They left my daughter broken, but I will not stop until every bully, every teacher, every system that allowed this is held accountable." The mothers in her neighborhood rallied behind her. Fathers clenched their fists in solidarity. Community leaders stepped forward. This wasn't just about one girl anymore. It was about every black child who had ever been silenced, beaten, or dismissed. The school board tried to silence her. They warned her not to bring negative attention. They told her to think of the school's reputation. Laughs bitterly. Reputation. While her daughter lay unconscious, fighting for her life, the mother looked them in the eye and said, "The only thing this school will be known for is the day a black girl was beaten into a coma, and the day her mother burned your walls of silence to the ground." And burn she did, not with fire, but with truth. Every press interview, every rally, every meeting with lawyers, she lit flames of awareness that spread through the city. Parents began pulling their children from the school. Teachers whispered about resigning. Donations dried up. The school that once ignored her cries was now drowning under the weight of its own shame. But still, every night, she returned to the hospital. She held her daughter's hand. Whispers, "I'm fighting for you, baby. You just keep fighting too." The nights were the hardest. Machines hummed in the hospital room, their steady rhythm reminding her of the fragile thread her daughter clung to. The mother would press her forehead against the child's hand and whisper, whispers, "Stay with me. Don't let them win." Sometimes a tear would fall, rolling down onto her daughter's skin, as if her love alone could wake her. But when the sun rose, she became fire again, the kind of fire you can't put out. She walked into school board meetings with her head high, her voice unshakable. The white men in suits shuffled uncomfortably as she listed every failure. No cameras by the bleachers, no supervision during gym, ignored complaints about bullying. "You let this happen," she declared, angry, "and I will not let you bury it." The board tried their usual tactics. They offered internal reviews. They suggested counseling sessions for the bullies. They whispered about protecting the future of those boys. Protecting the boys? What about protecting her daughter? The mother slammed her hands on the table so hard the room went silent. "Those boys nearly killed my baby. You talk about their future? My daughter might not even have one." Her words spread beyond that room. The community, already watching closely, erupted. News stations picked up the story. Headlines screamed of racially fueled attack and school negligence. Reporters camped outside the hospital. People across the city began marching, holding signs with her daughter's name. And with every camera, every microphone, the mother spoke. She didn't tremble anymore. She didn't whisper. She roared. Passionate tone. "This is not just my fight. This is the fight of every black child who has walked into a school and wondered if they were safe. This is the fight of every parent who has buried their pain because no one would listen. Well, I am done being silent." The bullies' parents came forward, trying to paint their sons as good kids who made a mistake. They blamed peer pressure. They even tried to twist it, claiming the girl had provoked them. Lies. All lies. The mother stood before the cameras, holding a photo of her daughter before the coma, smiling, alive, full of dreams. angry. "Tell me," she said, "what could a 14-year-old girl have possibly done to deserve being beaten until she could not breathe? Look at her face. Look at my baby. And then tell me again they're just good kids." The pressure grew. The superintendent resigned. Teachers began leaking stories of how they'd raised concerns about bullying but had been ignored. More parents stepped forward with tales of their own children being harassed, silenced, overlooked. The mother's fight was tearing down the walls of denial brick by brick. Still, each night, she returned to that hospital bed. She brushed her daughter's hair gently, kissed her forehead, whispered softly, "I'm not just fighting for justice. I'm fighting to give you a world worth waking up to." Then came the night when everything shifted. The mother sat as usual, her hand wrapped around her daughter's. She had been reading aloud, stories her daughter used to love, when she felt it. A twitch. Just the faintest squeeze of her fingers. She froze. Excited whisper. "Baby, do that again. Please. Squeeze Mama's hand." The machines beeped steadily. Her heart raced. Then again. A twitch. A small, fragile movement. The girl was still in the coma, but something had changed. Tears streamed down the mother's face as she kissed her daughter's hand. Whispers, trembling with hope. "You hear me, don't you? You're fighting. I knew it. I knew you were still in there." The doctors were cautious, reminding her recovery would be slow, uncertain. But for the mother, that tiny squeeze was everything. It was hope. And hope only fueled her fire more. She returned to the fight stronger than ever. She demanded criminal charges. She demanded policy changes. She demanded the school admit its failure publicly. And when they resisted, she brought the weight of the community down on them. Petitions gathered thousands of signatures. Churches rang with sermons about justice. Marches filled the streets with chants of her daughter's name. The day came when the bullies were finally brought before a judge. Their heads hung low, their parents clutching their arms. The mother sat in the courtroom, her daughter still fighting in the hospital, her eyes burning into those boys. She didn't flinch. She didn't waver. Firmly. "Look at me," she whispered under her breath. "See the woman you thought you could break? I'm still here, and I'm not done." The verdict came. The boys were sentenced, not just to juvenile detention, but also required to face counseling, education, and public accountability. It wasn't enough to erase the scars, but it was a start, a message, a warning. But the real victory wasn't in the courtroom. It was in the changes that followed. New policies in the school, cameras installed, anti-bullying programs with real teeth, teachers trained to recognize and report harassment. A system that once turned its back was now being forced to look directly at its failures. The mother became more than just a grieving parent. She became a voice. She spoke at rallies, at schools, at community events. She became a symbol of resistance, of love turned into unshakable power. Months later, in a quiet hospital room, her daughter's eyes fluttered open for the first time. Weak, confused, but alive. The mother gasped, pressing her hands to her mouth as tears poured down, crying with joy. "Baby! Oh my God, you're back! You're back!" Her daughter's lips trembled, her voice a whisper. "Mama?" The mother leaned down, holding her close, rocking her gently. "Yes, baby. I'm here. I never left." The road ahead would be long. Rehabilitation, therapy, scars both visible and invisible. But they weren't alone. The community that had once been silent now stood with them. The school that had once turned away now bowed its head in shame. And the mother, standing tall, whispered into her daughter's ear as she held her. Soft, powerful tone. "They thought they could silence you. But you started a revolution. And I will make sure the whole world knows your story." In the end, her revenge wasn't destruction. It wasn't fists or fire. It was louder, sharper, stronger. She destroyed the silence, the ignorance, the systems that allowed hatred to thrive. She turned her pain into power,
and that power shook an entire school and beyond. Because when a black mother rises, she does not rise alone. She carries with her the strength of generations, the prayers of ancestors, the fire of justice, and nothing can stand in her way. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Black Journey for more powerful stories of strength and justice.